Everybody get down. Everybody dance. Get up. Get up. That little gay talk show. 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 Did you like that?
That's really good.
Yes, I know. I made that on the fly.
I love it.
What I did was I went to this website called Free Sound. They have open source music, and they have all different genres that you can use. And of course, you know, being gay, I had to find a techno, hip house section. So that's what I found, and I fell in love with it. I actually have two versions. One I play at the end, so you'll hear the one at the end. Well, I'm your host, Joel Tatum. It's That Little Gay Talk Show. And it is, I'm not going to say post-corona. Is that, should I say post-corona?
No, I guess interlude.
Corona interlude, so to speak. I'm here with a guest. I'm here with Cobra Powers.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Cobra is an artist, a singer, songwriter, in the gospel genre. Openly gay, man. In the gospel genre, I was, when you told me that, I went, what? Look at us in all kinds of genres now. Now we're in gospel. Look at you.
You know, most of the men in church choirs.
In the black churches, it's always the pianist or the choir director.
Yeah.
The super Nelliest queens on the planet. And everybody acts like that they don't know that he's gay. I know, right? They just completely ignore. That's all right, brother. Brother Harold, I mean, he walks a little funny, but he can hit that high note right. So, you know, it's pretty fun. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I missed you. We haven't spoken.
I know. By the way, I'm helping produce another show, and politics will be discussed. So I'll probably be giving you a call. Yeah. You and a straight guy. I'm helping out another guy, John Floyd, do his thing. So I'll be setting up all his social media and everything else, and I'll launch his show sometime in July.
Nice.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Nice.
So let's get into it. Tell me, how have you been during this whole thing?
I've been at peace, always with my heart on Jesus, of course, and I felt at peace throughout the whole coronavirus craziness that has happened, and the year has gotten crazier and crazier as we go. I'm like already seeing that later this month we're gonna see aliens and underground babies and all kinds of crazy stuff happening.
Well, I just looked at the Weather Channel app. There is a tropical storm in the Gulf heading our way. I went, are you serious now? We just really?
Yeah. So that's why I ordered. I have some properties and stuff, so we were inspecting the roofs, and we have to get them fixed up before the show, before the whatever happens, you know, because we don't know if it's going to be a hurricane or what even.
Oh, speaking of which, now besides being a singer-songwriter, all that, you have a day job.
So I'm in real estate, real estate investor, realtor, all manners of real estate, a private lender. I love real estate. More on the investor side than the realtor side, but I still do that as well. Yeah. I love real estate.
Well, if I ever get this show to become successful, I know if I need to buy a condo, I'll just come looking for you.
Sure, I would love to help you. It's already a success. You know, I know that a lot of people have been listening. So.
Well, you know, since Corona happened and since all the stuff with the show happened and everything else, it's been a little slow going. You know, I had some. That first week was not good.
Yeah,
it was not good. I'm gonna admit, and I've said this on the show before, I was terrified that first week because I'm like, this has never happened before. I've never seen anything like this before.
A lockdown, like that crazy.
And you know, my friend. Marcus, who's also very spiritual, you know, he had remarked, he goes, girl, I think this might be the end of days. I'm like, please don't say stuff like that. Please don't say.
A lot of people thought that.
I know. Please don't say stuff like that. You just gonna make me run to the liquor store for the third time today. What's wrong with you? that first week was, and I know that you're a good Christian, but I spent a lot of time at that liquor store the first week because it was.
You know what? You can spend time at the liquor store and still be a Christian. I think we all have our things that we are working through, and part of the work is kind of overcoming whatever crutch or vice that we hold on to instead of holding on to God. Because I truly believe that ultimately the only source of comfort that we need is a relationship with God. But we all have things that we have to work through.
Well, it's I think one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show was because I knew how spiritual you was, and I think there are a lot of people in the gay community that kind of needs that little bit of a spiritual message to get us through. It's the beginning of Pride Month, and everything sucks. No parades, no parties, no nothing.
Riots, though.
It's people are still out. I mean, I guess it's like Stonewall from 1969 with everybody rioting in the streets in June, and I'm like, this is weird because if you know gay history, Stonewall happened late May. There was 3 or 4 days of rioting, and I think it was the 1st of June when the rioting finally came to an end. I think, if I remember correctly, I know it was late May when
I know it was the weekend of Judy Garland's death. That's what I remember.
That's what it was. It was the weekend of Judy Garland's death.
Yeah.
And
that's why the Queens were so upset because they had just come out of the vigil for Judy Garland, and now the cops show up. Like, we are now going to have it the weekend of Judy Garland's death. We're not going to take it.
I know, isn't it? It's kind of. It's a little eerie when you think about it because here we go with the cops again. Here we go with rioting again because of cops. Well, regardless of how you feel, either way. And I know that you. And dare I say it, audience, and I'm sorry I'm going to have to say this. I know you tend to be a little bit to the right. A little bit. Well, a lot.
I would say I'm conservative.
You're conservative.
Yes.
You're conservative. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that especially right now, I've always said, and I've said this to many of friends, we're all gay. Whatever your political alliances are, we're all gay. We have to remember that.
Yeah.
That's something that we have to remember. And we have to try to build some kind of understanding. I feel like that this is a community that can build bridges more than any other community.
Yeah.
And I feel like if one of the bridges that I want to build is, the divide between the left and the right, because I think when it comes to heterosexuals and this stuff, it's one way or the other. There's nothing in the middle. And I've always been a middle guy. I have always been, my entire political voting, everything else. I've always been down the middle, and I voted for George Bush once. I did. I did because the other alternative was not that great.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the alternatives now and thinking,
do we really
I don't even know what.
Joe Biden?
I don't know what to do. I understand. Here's how I see Joe Biden. I see Joe Biden. Well, here's how I see this whole thing.
Yeah.
I see this whole thing as, okay, so my ex did me super wrong. He did me so wrong, and then I had to get rid of him. And Joe Biden is just the rebound guy. He's just that guy who's going to be in office one term, and then we'll get somebody really good after this. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know.
Because I'm not.
The thing with Joe Biden and with Nancy Pelosi and people like that is that they've been in Washington for 40 years.
Yes.
And they haven't done shit. And they say, but give us one more try and we're going to do it. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. And
I don't.
Everything, at least as far as the economy was going quite well until this year when everything derailed and everything went to tits up, as they say in the UK. So I want to see what happens in the next few months. I hope that the economy starts to recover. That's the main thing. I hope that we can get some peace and harmony back into the country, and that's the main thing. That's
we definitely need some peace and harmony. the best way to do that, I think, is that what really upsets me on both sides, I'm not seeing any leadership at all. I am not, from the top on down, I'm not seeing any leadership. I'm not seeing someone take a stand and go, you know what, why don't we just take a look at all this stuff and let's try to fix this.
Yeah.
I don't think arresting 4 cops is going to finish this. It's not done. I think we need to start taking a look at what is wrong with our system.
It is a very, very, very complicated issue that is more than what they call systematic racism. I was watching a little bit of the White House press conference today, and the lady, Kaylee, or her name is what I forgot, the beautiful blonde, she was saying that they're looking into things that can be done to improve the situation, because of course it is, police brutality is a thing. It does happen a lot. Honestly, the numbers show that it's not necessarily African American people, but actually mostly whites, the ones who end up being killed in police brutality. But the thing is that police brutality is a thing. But at the same time, not all cops are bad. Some of them are. And a lot of positions of power and positions of authority do attract sociopaths and people who enjoy hurting others. So we should do a better job at filtering out who gets into those positions. And the other thing is that we should train people better to not overreact and act crazy. I've been arrested in the past for something in particular, but because I got into a fight and it turned into a thing, and it was crazy. Nobody got hurt, but it turned into a thing.
So you're an ex-con. Look at that.
No.
That's actually sexy.
But I mean, I can get down. But the thing is that, so they sent 12 cops to arrest me, and because they were expecting me to be armed and dangerous. But when they found me very submissive and gentle to them, and expecting them. I had a hunch that day. I felt it. Like God prepared me. Like I went to church. I came back from church. They were waiting for me. And I was like, thank you, God. Like I knew it. I'm ready because I just came from church. I'm full of the Holy Spirit. So when they detained me, I was so calm, so peaceful. They even said, like, you know, like you're so peaceful. And even I told them, like, you're cutting off my circulation with the cuffs. And they loosened them up when I was on the ride. That's something that they rarely ever do. But they did because I was very, very gentle with them. And at the same time, I've seen like white people being arrested and they scream like animals. And also 12, 20 cops throw them on the floor and put them in an X or a cross or whatever because they're screaming like animals. And so my advice to everybody, no matter your race, please do not resist arrest. Deal with things later. Deal with things in court with your attorneys. Just because every time that you resist arrest is going to count against you in the system. So please just show yourself as calm and collected as possible. No matter where they arrest you, just deal with things later. But at the time, prepare yourself emotionally for when it happens. And just be very, very gentle. Because these people, the way that they're trained right now is that basically you might die today. So anybody can kill you. And so they are hyper vigilant that they might be shot anytime. That's why they react like they react, you know? So just be very, very gentle. And just for your own safety and for your own life. Like, do not appear a threat at all. That is just my advice.
I will say that I do not have a problem with the police. I've had some run-ins with the police, and some of those run-ins were not very good. A couple of those were not very good, and I don't really want to get into super detail. One of which still pisses me off to this day is the fact that I was 3 blocks away from my house. 3 blocks away. I just left a bar with some friends, and I had a car at the time, so I didn't want to drive. And I walked home, and I got picked up for PI 3 blocks. Even though I told the officer, I'm like, I live right there. Oh, no, we're going to take you because we don't think that you'll be fine on your own. I live right there. I even pulled up my ID and everything. I'm like, I live right. I still ended up going to jail for PI.
Wow.
Which was actually, there's a silver lining, if you can call it a silver lining. I'd actually had some tickets. So my being in jail for the weekend took care of that.
Yeah.
So the judge, after I told the judge what happened, he was actually very nice. And the officer didn't show. And I told him exactly what happened. I said, I'm 3 blocks away from my house when they picked me up. Showed him my ID with everything on it. And my case got dismissed. But he did go, you have a couple of tickets. And I'm like, well, do you want me to pay those? He goes, no, you already served time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
That was that. That was a negative and a positive. But the couple of other times that I've had with police officers have been positive.
Yeah.
So what you said was true. Not all police officers are bad. And I think that a lot of police officers, everything that I've seen, because of the show, I have to spend a lot of time on the internet. By the way, that can be exhausting.
Yeah.
That can be mentally and emotionally exhausting. And I would suggest to you out there who have been quarantined, y'all need to take a break from the internet. Just take a break. Watch I love Japanese anime. Take a break.
Too.
Watch some, spend hours binging on some Japanese anime. Yeah. Eat some junk food. Have a glass of wine or whatever it is that you're into, and just relax. Get away from the internet.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything you said earlier about the police. This is why I have said this. When people sit down and talk and realize that, wait, we have the same idea. They just need better training, and you just need to have a system where you can weed out the bad cops and keep the bad cops from walking down the street to another precinct and getting a job.
Because even, this particular cop that was filmed with his knee on George Floyd's neck, he already had a history of police brutality, but the judges refused to prosecute him.
Yep.
So that is something that needs to be, and a lot of people are blaming Trump and Trump's administration, but this happened with Democrat police, chief of police.
It has happened
with a mayor, Democrat mayor, with Democrat governor. So it is more of a stand that people take.
Yeah.
So
this is not a Republican Democrat thing. This is a government thing all around.
And it's a very big, very old problem that hasn't been solved. And I think we need to look into the psychological profile of people who are getting into police or law enforcement.
I think I think basically a lot of this stuff could have been prevented if we moved into the 21st century and started looking at policing. We're still looking at policing. I'm a little bit older than you boys. So we're looking at policing from the 90s during the whole big drug thing. And unfortunately, that has not changed. Those policies, those training practices have not changed, even though we're no longer in a drug war. We've legalized weed in several states. For the most part, most drug abuse is down for the most part. There's still, human society.
Most of the drug users right now are white people.
Yeah, exactly.
So they abuse fentanyl and opioids and,
Yeah, exactly. So, the drug war, won or lost or what have you, it's antiquated policies from the 90s that have us where we are right now. And I'm not going to be a big fan to a lot of people when I say this, and I've said this to my friend, to my liberal friends as well. I'm a moderate. Let me make myself clear. I am a moderate when it comes to politics. So I try to see everything from both sides and try to come up with solutions and not talk about shit all the time. But I have often said this. Part of it is from the Clinton administration and their drug war policies, which were horrific.
Yeah.
They were horrific. A speech that Hillary Clinton gave back in the
predators.
Yes. Calling people in our neighborhoods super predators, and they need to be taken off the streets. That's where it started. And people forget that. So we're basically using antiquated police policies from the drug war in the 21st century, which aren't working.
Yeah.
And we were grateful in the 90s as a community that the police were coming in to clean up our communities. But we don't need you in the communities doing the same things you did in the 90s. We need you to start being a part of the community, getting to know the community that you're policing, and you won't have these problems anymore.
Yeah.
These problems will go away when the police start becoming a part of the communities that they work in.
And also, every community has to take responsibility, whether it be white people, African Americans, Latinos, whatever, Asians, whatever. They have to take responsibility for their community and for calling out the toxic behavior, the toxic nature of things, and start cleaning themselves up.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we have to take care of our neighborhoods. You know, we cannot depend on. Like, it's been shown that the police response time is like 30 minutes. So we have to be prepared to take care of our own neighborhoods when things get crazy.
Yeah, we do. A lot of it is internal, a lot of it's external. But if we make those things work together, we can make this work. You know, I didn't really want to get into politics.
But it's so loaded.
But I wanted to, because like I said, having you on the show, I think the gay community, those of us in the gay now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not much of a church person. I'm not even much of a God person, really. I grew up I grew up with parents who weren't very religious. Dad was married several times. The one time he was married to a woman who was, as I like to call, a super Baptist. Okay. I mean, she was super Baptist. I mean, family has had a church since great grandfather's days when they were released from slavery and set up their own church. That's how Baptist that these people were. So, I mean, I got to see firsthand what the church experience was like. Not a big fan, although I love the theatrics. I think Baptist churches are the most theatrical places ever.
Yeah. And they last like all day on Sunday.
Oh, that's the one thing I hated. Why do I need to spend 5 hours in a church? 30 minutes.
And they pass the collection plate like 12 times.
I know. 30 minutes. That's enough Jesus.
No, I like a service of about an hour and a half. I mean, like, I've gone to like modern services, I guess, and they're usually like 30 minutes of worship, music, worship songs, and then another 30 or 40 minutes of the actual message, the preaching. And in the middle, sometimes they present, people like testimonies, and I like that. And also they give the people the opportunity to get right with God. Like if they have something that they want to, accept God into their lives. So that format works for me. I've been in some other ones that are very much ritualistic, like the Catholic Church.
I've been down Catholic Church lane. Lot of being on your knees. A lot of being on your knees. A lot of standing and kneeling.
You don't even understand.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of Latin that I don't know what's going on half the time. I know. I apologize ahead of time. You've met me before. You know that I could be a little on the raunchy side.
That's all right.
When you were telling your story about the 12 police officers and how you needed to be submissive and all this other stuff, my mind went into so many different places. It was ridiculous. I'm like, that sounds like a night at
wow.
That sounds like a night at Ripcord. You're talking about big police officers and leather and handcuffs and I'm all this, and I'm like, that's Ripcord.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's Ripcord.
Yeah,
so
I haven't been in a long time, but I know what it is.
I know you know what it is. Has it been that long for you?
Well, I was banned from the place for being a right-wing conservative.
See, there I went. I wasn't thinking about Ripcord. I thought you were talking about something else. I thought your bedroom wasn't seeing any action, so to speak. So that's a personal thing. We're not fixing to go into that, but
my bedroom is a sacred place. It's,
We're not going to go there. I'm all jokes. So I'm all jokes. If you take offense, please let me know ahead of time. But I'm you know me. I'm all jokes.
Yeah,
so
it's all good.
So anywho, let's, like I said, let's get back into gospel. What inspired you? So now, I thought, if I remember correctly, and my history might be a little flawed, you were doing opera for a while?
I'm classically trained, but I've also been singing like pop, dance music. I really like European dance music. Like the really like stuff from the 80s, 90s, especially. And it just felt right. I felt called to sing this music, especially at these times where people need uplifting and inspiration and kind of being empowered with a positive message. That to me, it felt like the right time to fully go into this direction. I'm still doing some stuff that is more pop and like collaborating with a lot of like producers and DJs like overseas and stuff like that, online mainly. Like I would record things for them and they would like work on their side and back and forth. I produce myself as well. But this felt like the right time to really go for an empowering, uplifting message for people.
And the song that you have out, currently, which you can find on YouTube. I don't have a sample.
Spotify. Yeah, we do have it. We'll play it later.
Yeah, okay.
But, it is pretty much in all platforms, in all digital platforms. And this one is actually a
Crown of Light, folks. It's Crown of Light.
The project is called Crown of Light. The single is called My Weapon. And the specific version, because I'll have more dance remixes coming out. This one, the single is called Battle Ready Mix. And it's actually a cover of other gospel song, but my version is very synth pop, very like Eurodance feel to it, because I really love that style of music, and I want to bring Jesus into the dance floor. And that is what I want to,
Well, you know, some of us will argue that Jesus has been on the dance floor since the 90s. If you a lot of house music, a lot of old disco, you know, was based on gospel music.
Very much. Like Donna Summer started as a gospel singer and went back to being a gospel singer at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, but
Sylvester also was a bit of a gospel singer. The lady who sings Thelma something, Don't Leave Me This Way.
Thelma Houston.
Yes. Cissy Houston did some disco as well, and she was a gospel singer.
So gospel and house music and disco music kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So when I listened to your song, I was like, you know what, this is actually pretty good.
Thank you.
I like this. This is I was really confused about when you said, "Oh, it's synth pop." I'm like, synth pop. That sounds like Duran Duran or something from the
well, if you really listen to it, it's inspired by those sounds by like very like Giorgio Moroder, like Never Ending Story, by Euro dance artists like Sandra or from Mylène Farmer from France. Artists like that, also, you know, Madonna, things like that. Like, but also Eurythmics. I really like those 80s, 90s kind of like dance music. To me, those were the best. I still like the 2000s and even Lady Gaga is like very much inspired by that era, you know. So it's referential, I guess I would say.
How long have you worked on this track?
So I produce, and then I edit, and then I mix and master and everything. I'd say it can be like all together, maybe like 48 hours total. It can be several days at a time, you know, like divided. But one song, recording vocals for one song, because we have to do so many takes and make sure that we have all the parts that we want and that it's exactly how we want it. And sometimes it can be sung really well, but it's not exactly to the rhythm as we want it. So we have to re-record it until it's like as we want it and to the rhythm and with the right feel. It's about an hour, 2 hours to record a song. Sometimes if it's more like with harmonies, it can be longer. My songs, all of them, they use a very wide vocal range. So I don't use a whole lot of backgrounds either. I like to use like one main vocal line and make it kind of like wide ranging. And you can see a little bit of that, some influences, some singers' influences in the way that I sing as well. But overall, I would say, like maybe like a full 2 or 3 days of work for one song.
And where'd you get the inspiration to?
I knew of this gospel song, but I thought, well, I want to sing it in my way. And actually, my vocal arrangement is quite different than the original, and the production is completely different. And I wanted to give it my twist on how I feel and relate it to my experience. Also, as a younger singer, and the way that I sing, and also for a different audience that will still be not necessarily faith-based, but seeking inspiration, seeking uplifting. an uplifting message. And in that way, I think a more pop, more fun approach, it's welcome. And also the beat, it has a very like driving kind of like marching band beat to it, because I envisioned like marching into battle, riding a lion or something like that.
Oh, I heard. I heard that. But there was, I was a little, I'm not going to say surprised, but I was a little taken aback by the fact that there seems to be a lot of joy in this song.
Yeah.
There is a lot of joy in the song. And I was like, he's so intense, but this song is so joyful.
Yeah, it's uplifting strength. It's I'm passionately joyful. Violently happy is what Bjork said. Violently happy.
Violently happy. Well, I actually got very joyful, and like I said, I had to listen to it like 3 times, because I'm like, no, he actually sounds. And I'm looking at. By the way, I was looking at your Instagram page too, and I'm reading your Instagram, and I'm like, this guy is intense. This guy is joyful. Very joyful. I loved it. I thought it was a really good.
I think I'm intense in everything. As far as I have my strong opinions, but at the same time, I'm very open and loving to everybody. Even when I disagree with them, I try to be loving to people. And one thing that I've learned also recently is that sometimes I need to shut up, because even though I have strong opinions, I cannot say things like I cannot like throw all the facts at somebody when they're hurting. Like they need to process how they're feeling before they can even have like a logic-driven conversation.
Yeah.
And that has been part of my growing up process, realizing that I'm more logically driven than other people, and other people are more like heart-driven. So they have to feel things first, and then we can later on have a conversation. But like I really admire Wonder Woman. So she's all about power and as well as compassion. So that's why I try to.
I actually think of you as more intense and more emotional than logical. Maybe it's just a little bit that I got from you. The last couple of times that I've talked to you and what have you, I've often got, he's very passionate and he believes what he believes in, and that could be a good thing, and that could be a bad thing too. But I'm not saying that it's not there, but I just never got the sense that you were you depended more on your heart and than your head kind of thing. So that was my impression that I got.
I'm into
but you're very smart, and you know what you're talking about when you talk about things. So I'm like, he knows his shit, and when you know your shit, you don't have anything else to say.
Yeah. The trap with that, with feeling like we know too much, is that we can become insensitive to people who do not see things like how we are seeing it, or like with the clarity that we're seeing things. So part of my growing up has been learning to not fit into negativity when people are feeling very negative and emotional, but instead just kind of try to give love and compassion to them when they're going through certain things. There are certain things that I don't agree with and I won't participate in, just because I understand certain symbolism behind things. But other things that I feel are just cause, I will take part of it.
So I think we are going to take a little bit of a break, and we will be right. And we're back. I'm back with Cobra Powers, and he's going to play a sample of his song. You should check it out on YouTube.
Yeah. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere, basically.
Everybody's going to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to go to YouTube.
I hope, because I need my views to go up, because it's going up everywhere else. I have.
So you definitely want to promote YouTube. Watch it on YouTube. Yes, you could get it on Spotify and all this other stuff, but just watch it on YouTube. Help his numbers get up, y'all. Get it up. Watch it on YouTube.
So it's called Crown of Light. The music project is Crown of Light, and the song is called My Weapon, Battle Ready Mix. Okay, I'm going to play it to you.
Okay, go ahead.
A sample.
Your strength will not be shaken. Your love will not back down. Death has been defeated. What can stop me now? Hold on to what you spoke. You said that I am free. You've given me your promise. You are my victory. Your presence is my greatest weapon. Pushing back the darkness, breaking every chain. My worship opens up the heavens, crushing every stronghold when I speak your name. Your presence is my weapon. Your presence is my weapon.
And there we go. And there we go. What a lovely song. What a very uplifting, we kind of need this kind of song. We really do need this kind of song. We need
love in the world.
We do need love, more love in the world. And this is one of those songs. Are we working on a possible album here with more music, or is this just a project for right now? Or
I have enough songs, honestly, for several albums, but I'm gonna be releasing one song at a time.
Okay.
And seeing the best work, I guess.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of like incomplete projects, and I have a couple of finished projects as well that are actually much more gospel, but still with the sort of electronica feel. Like I have a cover of I Will Follow Him from Sister Act. It's one of my favorite movies.
Oh, that's one of my favorite songs from that movie, by the way.
So I'll send it to you to listen to at least before it's released. It might be released.
I think you should do like a house version of that. I think that would be cute.
You know what? I'm gonna work on a remix. Yeah, definitely.
I think that would be super cute because I think a house. I think that song in house format. You'll have me dancing around this apartment. I swear to God, you will have me dancing around this apartment. Because, like I said, I think you have a future in. I think you have a future in gospel music. I really do. I think you should really try to pursue it as much as you can. And we need some hometown love. Yeah. So, like I said, y'all, I know that wasn't the best way to hear that. I usually can upload this kind of stuff, but
it's okay,
we had some issues trying to upload it. So
it's a leak.
Yeah. So it's just a leak, but you can listen to the rest of it on YouTube. Yes, I know, Cobra. Yes. Yes, you're on the other formats.
Everywhere.
But we're trying to get those numbers up on YouTube, yeah. Because I'm going to be honest, I even listen to my show on YouTube. I don't know why.
Well, it's good. But I just over the weekend I have over 1,000 streams on Spotify, and it's growing very organically. It's interesting seeing it grow organically and seeing where people's suggestions to listen to it are coming from, and the countries that are listening to it. It's all over the world, and I'm quite pleased that it just in a few days, like just gospel music is being heard around the world. So
nice. You should be very pleased.
I am. I hope that to glorify the Lord with the work that I'm doing.
So you can do music and sell real estate at the same time. Look at you.
Well, I think that is the right way to kind of do art in the modern day. It's very hard to make a living of art, so you have to do it for the love of it.
I run a podcast. I know how hard it is to make a living. Trust me. So I know how hard it is. I'm still, still having to work the restaurant gigs. So, and with Corona, even that's up for there's very little future probably in full service restaurants.
Yeah.
I think Corona has pretty much.
But it's pretty much gone now with the protests.
Yeah, I know. Because we don't know if this is going to pop up. This could pop. We could be back in quarantine.
Yeah.
in a few months. And we already have close to 40 million people out of work right now. Yeah. The highest it's ever been. Even during the Great Depression, it wasn't this high.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. And like you said earlier, I'm hoping people get back to work. I have been out and about a little bit, trying to get a feel of what's going on in the restaurants right now. And I realize that for now, people are still not coming out as much. They're pretty much picking up to-goes and stuff. And the few of us honestly, the few of us that are working, I hate to say it, for most of us, it's just so right now we can keep our unemployment checks coming because, if we don't go to work, we can't get the checks anymore. So, we have to have a supplemental income because making $20, $30 at work, that costs more in travel than that. So, and like I said, I've been talking around to other people in the industry, and it's been slow. There have been a few days where Sunday brunch is a Houston thing. Houstonians love Sunday brunch. Oh my God.
It's so hot in here.
I know.
So hot and so humid.
Mm-hmm. But I tell you what, they get dressed up and sit on that hot ass patio for cheap ass mimosas and, okay food. So depending on where you're going.
Yeah.
So I've already, I spent my time, I actually went back to school.
Good.
Took some online courses because I have been, like I said, I spend a lot of time on the internet because of the show, because that's, where I get most of my information. So, a lot of projections are saying that full service restaurants will probably hit the dirt in the next 3 or 4 years. And for those of us who are out there, especially for the kids, I'm not worried about. When the kids come into the restaurant, they are there to work for a little while they go to college.
Yeah.
And then they're off. And for some of us, this has been a career. And by the way, and I've said this to people before, depending on where you work, waiters make fantastic money. Mm-hmm. Waiters make fantastic money, up to $50,000 a year, depending on where you work. Mm-hmm. If you're working in the super fancy places, over $100,000 a year. So you do really well working in full service restaurants. But like I said, Corona has changed everything. And what the projections out are that, we'll probably be doing more restaurants will probably be doing counter service instead of full service. So, you got to get out there and you got to get yourself an education.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So that's what I've been doing for the last, I think after the second week, I'm like, I can't destroy my liver. Yeah. I need to find something to do. And so I decided for I'm taking social media management.
That's good.
I know, right? It's the next big thing.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people are going to be working, and it's one of those jobs where you can work from home. Yeah. So I'm like, I kind of, for a little bit, enjoyed being in. Mm-hmm. I'm an omnivert, so I can be social when I need to be, but I'd actually rather just be in the house.
Yeah.
So I've actually enjoyed it for a little bit, and I thought, I'm doing the podcast, I'm doing this other stuff. I'm going to be helping another friend do his podcast. I'm going to make this a full-fledged production company when it comes to a podcast and everything else. So, the future is not the restaurant anymore. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. It's I'm the next step.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, it's the next step. So it's hard because the last time I sat in the classroom was 30 years ago.
It's hard, and online classes are hard. Mm-hmm. I don't like online classes.
I was a little worried about that too because, life can get busy.
Yeah. And
you can easily just delay a class back a few days and that kind of thing instead of going to a physical class where you actually have to be there. Mm-hmm. But I have made my schedule to the point where I know I'm going to go to class.
Yeah.
So I don't do any morning classes. No, we do it at 2, 3 in the afternoon when I'm awoken from my second nap. I had to say I took a lot of naps during this whole thing. Did you take a lot of naps?
You know what? My sleeping schedule got so messed up that I had to start taking melatonin, melanin or whatever it's called. just to like remind myself of like what sunlight feels like. And I started to having to go to the park more in order to really get some sunlight into my eyes, so I could get regular sleep. Because otherwise my sleeping patterns were crazy.
My sleeping patterns were all over the place. I think I took 6 naps a day, for the most part. And I think that's really why I decided to take online classes, because I got tired of sleeping all day. I'm like, I can't just, oh God. I've watched everything on, you know what I made the mistake of? I watched Tiger King. God damn it. Why did I watch, I'm sorry. Oh, I don't mean to use the Lord's name in vain, but why did I watch that?
I haven't seen it. I've heard it's pretty fun. But
it is horrific, and I would not recommend it.
You know what I binge watched lately? Like the last thing that I binge watched was She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Yes. Yes, the
lesbian kiss.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm like, we just went there? Yes. She-Ra. Yes.
I love Save the World.
I know. I'm like, it's about time, Catra. What were you waiting on?
Yeah.
You went through all this eating now. I'm going to be honest. I love that that's a fantasy. But if that were real life, that would be considered a toxic relationship, right?
It is a very, very toxic.
That would be considered a toxic relationship right there.
And the thing is that they did a good job showing the psychological and emotional growth of all of the characters, really. But, I mean, like, they have so much work to do in that relationship, because even when there's love, like, people have to really... It's work.
It's work.
It's not just like, I love you, let's be together, but actually like kind of like, you're very toxic, I am very toxic, we have to fix our shit.
Exactly.
And we have to get better as
we have to work internally before we can be together, because I got a lot of shit I need to deal with before this. But they're young. Young. When you're a kid and you're in love, love is everything. But when you're an adult, you realize that love is work. Love is a lot of work. For some of us, it's too much work. So, yeah, I don't want to poo-poo on She-Ra, but at the end of the day, that's a pretty toxic relationship. Y'all need to look. I know you love me, but you need to fix yourself first.
Oh, yeah. And you know what's funny? That now Wonder Woman is coming out, the 1984 one. And I love the whole, like, aesthetic from the 80s. Like that, you can see from my own art, like I love that kind of like aesthetic. But also they're saying that there's a little bit of lesbian crush thing going on.
That's always been, if you read Wonder Woman lore, that's always been back and forth since the 1940s when Wonder Woman.
1940s, and actually it was kind of kinky back in the day.
Oh yeah, they did a movie about that. But he was a little bit of a freak there.
He was a pervert.
He was a pervert, but you know what? He put it in the cover too. And what gets me is everybody forgets most of that stuff was made for adults.
Yeah,
they weren't really made for kids. So all the old cartoons and all that other stuff that was made. The adults went to see that. The kids went to see like little cereals and all that wholesome stuff, but those cartoons were made for adults. So
now the way that they drew them, Wonder Woman in the 40s, it had a lot of S&M play.
A lot of S&M play. Yes, I read the history and it was quite fascinating. And I'm like, because her biggest weakness was being bound.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a man. This is a woman who could punch Superman in the face, but all it takes is a regular man to tie her up, and she's weak. I mean, I always thought that was the weirdest weakness on the planet.
Well, it was being bound by a man. Like they had to put her hands behind her, so he had to bind her that way.
Yeah.
And the whole lore of Wonder Woman was that basically because the Amazons have been sex slaves to Hercules, to the world of men. That's when they will lose their strength, when they were kind of like captives to that same thing. That's why she was never supposed to allow a man to bind her. Yeah.
Which is amazingly enough a metaphor for obsessive love, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, being obsessively in love.
And that's the crazy thing. That I was telling a friend that there's nothing that you can do to make sure that somebody loves you and is faithful to you. Like, because we all bind ourselves to somebody. We cannot have that person bound to us. We cannot just tie that person to us. It's like we each choose to bind ourselves to somebody. It's always a choice. And if you either have that or you don't, you know, it does. If it doesn't happen, it's not, you know, it's not happening. Because it's always a choice, and it's a choice that has to be made every day with relationships. You know?
I know. And so, what would be your closest to perfect relationship? What kind of man would you want in your life to be with?
Well, I always say
to be the fabulous Cobra Powers.
If you're gonna fall in love with a man, fall in love with Jesus first. That is, yeah.
So this is an open relationship.
No, it is not. It's very close.
Well, Jesus and then you. So it's an open relationship, or a polyamorous.
No, it is. No, the thing is that this is the thing. It's very sort of, it's a little mystical, but the thing is with the body is that the body needs sex, right? The mind needs stimulation. The emotions need to be validated. They need to feel like we are important to somebody. So we do need those things from a physical perspective that somebody can give us. But the soul is boundless. And the only soulmate that we truly have is God, is Christ. So to truly be complete and whole in a relationship, we can only truly have that with our connection with God. Everybody else is never going to be like the full, complete things. I feel like, and also my view in relationship is that looking for somebody to make you happy is one of the stupidest things that we can do.
Thank you. I agree with that. You should be making yourself happy first.
And also, if somebody falls in love with you exactly as you are, run away, because that person is an idiot. Like, why? Yeah.
You might want to explain that.
Why? Yeah, why would somebody fall in love with you with all your flaws as a human being? So instead, I think like we should be with somebody who helps us grow. We help them grow. We grow together, and we kind of not be like in a codependent relationship, but certainly in a symbiotic relationship, in a mutually beneficial relationship of spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical growth as well. Because we should stimulate each other to be healthier as well physically.
Do you think there's a very fine line between symbiotic and codependent?
Oh yeah, like people who don't have a clear perception of who they are, what they want, and where they want to go, they become codependent. I've dated people who were borderline, people who are malignant narcissists, like crazy, like.
But everybody's, horrible. You know, I have noticed something. Everybody seems to consider themselves a narcissist nowadays.
No. But
that's not.
No, being self-centered is not being a narcissist.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not the same. Being a narcissist is somebody who completely like lacks empathy, and because they don't love themselves. If somebody loves them, they treat that person like shit because they cannot understand why would that person love them, because they don't love themselves. So that is a work that we we all have sometimes tendencies like that. So people who have like the full-blown disorder, that is a thing, but we all have like tendencies in which we become unhealthy, and we have to regulate ourselves and keep ourselves in check, and we have to say, okay, I'm getting into a toxic place. I need to step back and I need to figure out, why am I doing this? Why am I allowing myself to be treated this way? So we all have toxic behaviors from time to time because we are all flawed humans.
That is true.
But it is part of our job to figure out, why are we doing this to ourselves, and why are we allowing other people to treat us that way? You know?
Well, you know, according, and I always say this, according to Facebook, everybody's toxic and everybody's a narcissist. And I'm like, whoa, slow down. Every relationship that you're in has some amount of toxicity to it.
Yeah.
There are some of your friends, and let's take our friendships. I have very tight friendships that I've had for 20, 30 years. But we each have our issues. Yeah. We each have our own issues. And it really depends on how much you can put up with those issues. Are those issues worth the friendship, basically put?
And I think we can, if people can agree to work on things
mm-hmm.
and improve themselves,
mm-hmm.
I think relationships can be salvaged and improved.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's always room for, and with friendships, especially, there is, you grow as a person, and with the passing years, you're not the same. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago, and I wasn't the same person I was 10 years before that, and et cetera, et cetera. So we all grow and change a bit, and it's those relationships that we have with our friends that grow and change along with it. We're not the same people we were 15, 20 years ago. We're completely different people, and it's those friendships that I cherish the most, because we've been through ups and downs, and we've fought.
Yeah.
We've not spoken to each other. We've gone through all kinds of stuff, but when it rolls down to it, bitch will come bail you out of jail if shit gets real. She'll yell at you, but she'll still come bail you out of jail if she gets real. So having those kind of special relationships, I think, is important. I think it's especially important since it's Pride Month. I've often wanted to talk about this so much because I'm a little worried when it comes to my millennials. I'm not worried about my Gen Zers. They'll figure their shit out later. But I worry a little bit more about my millennials because, when I was coming up, our friendships were gay friendships. We had each other. A lot of us lost family when we came out of the closet. A lot of us, we had each other. And those friendships, there are guys I know from 15, 20 years ago that I can count on both hands who would come running to my rescue if necessary, because we've always felt like family. I don't feel like we have that anymore. And I'm not one of those people who blames it all on the internet, mm-hmm. but I feel like there's a disconnect between, I think we spend more time on our machines looking for those kind of relationships, and we get what I call the pizza delivery relationships, where somebody comes in and does what they need to do and they're out the door kind of thing. So, yeah, I think that when it comes to friendship, I'm not seeing a lot of tight friendships when it comes to gay men. I think I'm a little worried.
And also I think because
mm-hmm.
in the gay world, there's always like the possibility of like sleeping with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And
trust me, it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I've slept with my friends and we were fine. That does not change. In fact, when we realized, oh Lord, no, we shouldn't have done that, we became better friends. But I'm not, and by the way, I'm not encouraging that you shouldn't be sleeping with your friends, but all I'm saying is that, we made mistakes, but we hold on to each other, and we've had tighter relationships. We can all get together for Thanksgiving, and we might not have seen each other in a couple of years, and we talk like we've been talking for God knows how long. But when I see the younger kids, I feel like the relationships are come and go. So I worry about that a little bit.
I think it's because also a lot of people don't know themselves and they don't come into their own till a little later in life.
Mm-hmm.
So because they don't know themselves, they cannot appreciate other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about you only love as much as you're able to love yourself and
mm-hmm.
have those kinds of healthy boundaries as well with
mm-hmm.
people. So to me, my growing up as a person
mm-hmm.
has been part of that, of also learning to establish healthy boundaries with people
mm-hmm.
and learning when it's okay to walk away, because it's really hard for me to give up on people.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like we give up on people so easily because this person is toxic and that person is toxic and that person is a narcissist and that person is this and that. We give up on, if that person treats you like this, they're toxic. And I'm like, that could have been, are you serious? Are you really going to throw away a friendship? I can understand, look, There are certain people in your life, and trust me, I have had them. There are certain people in their life who are so terrible, they have to go.
Yeah.
They completely have to go. It might take you a little longer to figure that one out, because it took me a while to figure that one out, but I was going through some self-esteem stuff myself. Mm-hmm. But they have to go. But there's the ones that, even though they're not perfect, because nobody's perfect, and I really wish people would get off the idea of trying to find the perfect husband or the perfect friend or the perfect, nobody's perfect. We are human beings.
Yeah.
There's not a perfect person on this earth. Some things you just have to go, you know what? That's who they are. I love them anyway.
Well, there's a song by Lara Fabian, who is, she's a vocalist, kind of like Celine Dion. Mm-hmm. She had that song, I Will Love Again, like in 2000. It's a dance song, pretty nice. Mm-hmm. She's kind of like Celine Dion. And she has a song in one of her latest albums, and she says something like, no one is perfect at all. No one is perfect, I know, until we fall in love with them. And it's because we shouldn't be blind to somebody's flaws and to somebody's toxic behavior. But at the same time, when you really love that person, I mean, if you really love that person, no matter what they look like in 30 years or 40 or 50 years, I mean, they're still your one and only.
I think it's different. I think it's slightly different when we're talking about friends than when we're talking about people we're involved with, because the one thing that separates the two is the physical, and that's sex. So when sex becomes involved, I think it becomes much more intense, and things can really get, I mean, love can be, oh, good God. When you are intensely in love with someone, it could be a roller coaster until, you figure out whether or not this is going to last or what have you. But with friendships, you can, well, come and go, so to speak.
Yeah.
And, they'll always be there, but you can always come and go. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes you outgrow your friends. Yeah. Sometimes they outgrow you.
That happens a lot.
That happens a lot. And there are people I haven't seen in a long time. But like I said, if I run into them in the street, we talk like we'd seen each other yesterday. So I just think it's important to hold on to those human relationships and stuff. And please stop getting all your advice from Facebook. There are so many therapists on my Facebook page. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, none of y'all are qualified to be giving this kind of advice out. Worry about your own lives.
Yeah. I have gone through like relationships therapy, relationships counseling by myself. Just to learn how to love better, how to love myself better, and how to really focus on having a healthy relationship. Just because I realized that I was falling into toxic behaviors and allowing toxic behaviors. And I had to figure out, why am I allowing these kinds of people into my life? And why am I also becoming toxic because of these interactions? So I think it's important for all of us to, as a process of individuation, of putting ourselves together as full human beings, to kind of grow and learn better ways to love ourselves and other people as well. Because when we are younger, when we are little, our concept of love is so primitive, so childish, and we think that love is just like whoever makes you tingle in a nice way or whatever. But
you still kind of want to hold on to that little bit of child. You want to still hold on to that little bit of child. You still want love to make everything tingle, and you still want to have a big smile on your face when when you get off the phone with that person, you're like, I had a good time.
Absolutely. But real love, it's not so much like a cupcake or like an explosion. It is more like that constant fire that it's always going to be like the fire inside of the home, like the hearth. That to me is real love. That the fire that you can depend on, that is going to keep things warm and that is going to keep the animals away. While people think that everything has to be like telenovela, like an explosion and drama, and like if you're not fighting all the time, it is not fun. But that is not love. That is so toxic.
If my life were a telenovela, I'd stay in the house. I would never leave the house. I swear to God, because every time I'd step out of the house, No. No, I couldn't go through all that. That's too much drama. Yeah. It's cute to watch. But could you imagine living in that kind of world? No.
Well, this is what one of my relationships coaches told me. She said, things come easy for you. So when it comes to relationships, you seem to look for the telenovela. You seem to look for the drama and the people that are going to create drama in your life. And that is something that you have to work on because it's like, why do you want that? And I had to realize, oh yeah, I see it. I see it now.
Well, when you've been what I like to call, when you've been a happy bachelor for I've been a happy bachelor for quite, and it's on purpose because I wasn't ready for relationships. Oh Lord, my self-esteem was, if you had to measure it on the scale, it was minus 340. I mean, it was that low when I was younger. So I wasn't ready to settle. And I knew that I was very aware of the fact that me in a relationship and I don't have any self-esteem. Are you serious? Yeah. It's not going to work. I cry after sex. No, no, it's not going to, I can't imagine myself in a relationship. No, I would have shot myself in the head. No, I wasn't ready. But it took me a long time. My childhood was not the best. My adulthood wasn't the best. So it took me a long time to get to the place where I'm more comfortable with who I am now and everything else, to the point where I'm like, you know what? Am I ready now? I think I might be ready. I think I might be too old, but I think I might be ready. I think I waited way too long. But I think you know what? The thing is that even if it never happens, I'm fine. Like I said, I've been happily single for a long time. So even if it doesn't happen, I'm fine. But, it's just, I don't want that to be the nagging thing in the back of my head later on in life where I'm like, wonder what would have happened if I'd just been in a relationship for at least longer than 3 months.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. So I don't ever want that. That's one of the things I don't want to be nagging in the back of my head. So, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's time I date, but nobody knows how to date. Nobody knows. I mean, I think I have dating down perfectly. First date, you go have coffee somewhere, because I would never take anybody on the first date to a bar. That's the worst thing to do. I don't understand why people take you to a bar on the first date. You don't want to see me at a bar on the first date. I will leave your ass behind. That's the honest to God truth. I know myself. So I know, no. I want to get to know you as a person. Then that way, and this is me being logical, that way, when the check comes, if we don't like each other, we can just haul ass into two different directions. I don't want to sit through a dinner uncomfortably with someone and going, oh God, who's going to pay did he ask? Well, who's going to pay the check? I don't even like him. He's got a hot body though, and I still might do him, but I don't like him enough to want to see him again. So, I don't want to put myself in that kind of situation when it comes to dating. But I hate to admit it. I used to love dating. I never took it seriously, but I used to love dating. It used to be fun, meeting a new person, seeing if we're going to hit it off. Sometimes we hit it off, and sometimes we did. Sometimes I made friends, and other times I looked at a person and went, he showed up in tube socks and a pair of shorts. What the fuck is wrong? I went through the trouble of making sure I looked nice, and he shows up in tube socks and a pair of shorts from 1984. I'm like, are you serious? So, I've had those adventures, and dating is fun, but it doesn't seem to be so much fun. And everybody my age, I'm not saying that everybody at my age wants to date younger. That's not the truth. Not everybody my age wants to date younger. I think everybody my age is just bitter. Sometimes they're just so bitter. They've been in relationships for 15, 20 years. Their husbands ran off with somebody 25 years younger than them. I'm like, And they're looking to get married again. And I'm like, whoa, slow down there. We literally just met 5 minutes ago. Do you already talk about marriage? No. I don't even know if I want to have sex with you or not. Can we at least get to that point before we? No. So no, it's been a. And then Corona happened, and I've been very lonely during Corona. Very, very lonely. Very lonely.
You know, it's kind of like it's the loneliness thing is a thing that a lot of people struggle with, and that's why there's been so many suicides during this time.
Yeah, there have been a lot of suicides during this time.
For me, thankfully, one thing that I say is that I can be alone but never lonely.
Oh, you know what? I thank you for saying that. Let me correct correct this. When I mean I've been lonely, I mean in the bedroom. I don't
alone,
mean I don't mean I'm fine with being alone. Like I said earlier, I'm a happy bachelor.
Yeah.
But
I feel you. So
I'm a good looking guy.
I'm a born again virgin. So
yes, you've made that quite clear.
Yeah, I'm a born again virgin. So for me, it's about I don't know if you've seen this cult classic. It's called the Ladies and Gentlemen, the Fabulous Stains. It's about what is the name of the actress? Very beautiful actress. I forgot, but Ladies and Gentlemen, the Fabulous Stains. So it's about a girl group. And they said, we are the stains and we don't put out. And basically what they mean by it is like, I don't get hurt. I don't get fooled. In that sense, it is a choice of not letting people use you and treat you kind of like crap in a way, but also being unbound and independent and looking out for your own growth and betterment as a person instead of being focused on looking for marriage or something, you know? So that is just my philosophy. And I look at it more like Athena, you know, like in Greek mythology, or like Athena or Artemis, they were like the virgin goddesses or whatever. It doesn't mean that you don't have companionship of people or somebody special or whatever, but it means that nobody can have you unless they defeat you in battle. Or at the same time, a virgin forest, it is not a place that is dead, but it's actually a place that is unexploited. It is full of life, but it's not exploited like a field. Yeah. And it's not a desert. It is full of life in itself. So that's my point of view.
I think that's a pretty good point of view. I really do. But I have to say, I've enjoyed this. I've had a good time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. It's not the end of the show. We still have a few more minutes. But
wonderful.
We still have a few more minutes. But yeah, I've had a great time. You know, you have to come back on here and do this again with me.
Anytime.
You have to come back. And you brought your friend with you. Went out to talk about his art. I might have him sit down at the table next time so he can promote his art. And
he's an artist. He's a big time artist. He was recently my friend Jacob Socialite. He was in the Raw. It's a big art event that they do once or twice a year in Houston. And he showed recently there amazing art. Like I call it multi-dimensional art because it's like you see things inside of things. And if you look at some of his paintings in different lights, it's like you can see layers of things. So,
Jacob, are you single?
That's a good question.
Oh, that's a good question. That was a good question because I want to tell some of you gays out there, he's cute. Y'all want to? He's an artist and he's cute. Y'all might want to hit that.
He has an OnlyFans.
I'm dating myself. I feel like.
Yeah, he has an OnlyFans in case you want to be his fan.
Yes. Oh, does he have an OnlyFans? What is it? Let me write that down right now.
What is your OnlyFans?
It's just OnlyFans at Jacob Socialite.
OnlyFans at Jacob Socialite.
You know what? I am going to have you on the show because, I get, the show page on Twitter. I made the mistake once during Corona, one dick pic. I made the mistake of looking at one dick pic, and suddenly my Twitter page was full of dick pics. And I'm like, I have seen dicks of all colors and sizes now, and I'm actually okay with it. I thought I was a little pissed at first because I'm like, I'm trying to I want this to be a serious page. I talk about news and stuff, but and a lot of OnlyFans. So I'm like, I wanted to have a show where I talk about that because I think that would be a fun show. And I would, yeah. So I would be like, if I could get someone who does an OnlyFans thing, I found him sitting right here in my living room.
I'm pretty sure other guests you've had have OnlyFans, or at least they put their videos for free on there.
I think to be quite honest, I think it really popped up and really popped hard because of Corona. People were staying in. You can only do so much Pornhub or X videos before you want to move on to something else. I'm like, I don't mind the professionals, but sometimes I like to see what the amateurs are up to. I like to see what the real people are doing. And I know the OnlyFans, they have a lot of stuff going on, but they also have a lot of, So I always thought, I would love to do a show where we talk about that.
Yeah.
And I can have a guest on who does it. Jacob, you need to leave your number. We'll have a show about that, as well as your art. We'll talk about your art.
That's my art as well.
Yeah, we'll spend the first 10 minutes talking about your art and the last 90 minutes talking about everything else.
And bring the wine.
Okay, and don't.
Jesus juice.
Okay, you know what? Make sure you bring this one. You don't want to leave me with wine, and we're talking about OnlyFans. You don't.
I gotta get those ratings.
I don't. No, I don't want to be a part of the Me Too movement. So,
No, it's the sexual.
You know what? It's interesting as far as now that as the Me Too movement. I've been following Rose McGowan. And yeah, she's one of those people who sometimes she's like batshit crazy, but also she's a very smart and inspirational
She
person.
is very passionate. I follow her too because she is batshit crazy, and that's why I love her. She's bad, but she fights for women.
Yeah,
and I love and recently she's spent a lot of time fighting for women of color. Bringing up those conversations, which white women still have a hard time bringing up. I don't know why white women have a problem with conversations when it comes to women of color. I don't think white men have a problem with it too much. I think white women do. And I don't know why.
the things that like with white feminists or white female liberals in general is that unfortunately I think that they see people of color like you, like me, as purse puppies, like something that they can use to like say, see how good I'm helping. But
and as gay men, we already know this. We are purse puppies to a lot of. Sometimes we become purse puppies to a lot of women. I do have female friends, and by the way, they are not. I am not a purse puppy to them. I'm a friend.
Yeah.
But we have had experiences with women where they were looking for their gay best friend for a little while until they got bored with you and moved on to something else. So
I think that is the big flaw of that argument that people tend to see from the left. In my view, is that they tend to see people of color as, "Oh, poor baby," like we need to take care of you, and that is very infantilizing. I think everybody, no matter their color, no matter their gender, they have agency. They can make choices and decisions for themselves. And it's interesting. Actually, I was watching a live of MJ Rodriguez from she's Blanca from Pose.
Yes.
And she was saying reparations. And I sent her a message saying, let's talk about reparations, but also let's talk about business plan, investment plan, financial education. Because if you're gonna get reparations, you better not lose it.
I have been saying that for years. I do not want to just hand people some money, and there's your money, and then that's it. That's not how you do it.
Yeah.
And that is not how you do it. You have to teach people financial responsibility.
Absolutely.
And when you teach financial responsibility, they teach it to their kids, and it moves on. You grow a community that way. A lot of people, the black community has grown. We've grown economically. We are going to college in numbers that we haven't seen in years. We are becoming more upwardly mobile than we have in years. It's a slow process, but it's happening. We're getting better, but we still have a lot of work to do. And I think that we're going to get there. I'm really hopeful when I'm watching the young people around me. I'm so much more hopeful than I was in the past. I think when I was coming up, I think we got, oh Lord, I'm black. I can say this. I think we just got a little complacent and we started depending on other people to do the stuff for us. And then I think we came to a point where we're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to teach our kids to.
Yeah.
And I think the kids have gotten so much better. And I think that the kids are definitely our future. I think we're going to be, I think being black in America, I think we are going to be fine. Yeah. I know that we're going through a lot of stuff, but damn it, the kids are out there. They're doing stuff. They're going to change stuff. They really are going to change stuff, and things are going to get better for for this generation and the next generation. They are working hard to make sure of that.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be said with all this negativity and everything else, with all the things that have happened. When I see the kids out there doing stuff, I know that the future is bright.
And I also want to say I'm so proud of my city, Houston. That all the protests have been peaceful, and we have shown more sense.
We did have a couple of small little incidents, but they were small. Yeah. We're not in curfew. I mean, these boys can stay here all night if they want to. In other cities, you have to be home by 9:00.
Yeah.
So we're not. Yeah. No, Houston. But to see people in Houston of all colors, that just made me so proud.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It wasn't just black people, but to see people of all colors and all ages. I'm getting a little verklempt. to see people of all colors and all ages, it made me very proud.
It is very.
I'm very hopeful. Yes. I know the media sometimes. The media.
Well, we cannot allow them to divide us because. I think that the same people who have been against all of humanity for a while, they're trying to divide us. They're trying to incite a race war, class war, right versus left. But it's truly humanity versus these demonic entities, demonic influences that are trying to divide us. So at the end, like Wonder Woman said, only love can save the world.
Yeah.
And we have to love each other because we are all in this together.
We are all in this together. Yeah. But like I said, it just makes me so proud.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of the young people. I'm proud of, I'm in so many ways. If I do not ever want to hear from my generation again how lazy millennials are. I don't ever want to hear that again because millennials are, goddamn it, they're out there in the streets. They're out there working. They want a future. They are working hard to get it. Stop calling them lazy. My generation, by the way, we raised millennials. I don't know why they are the ones who are complaining the most. You raised these kids. If they came out the way they came out, it's because you raised them, not your parents.
Yeah,
definitely not your parents. They just went up to them, got some candy, and came home. You raised these kids, so stop bitching about these kids. Most of them are in their 30s with kids of their own. So. Yeah, stop complaining about millennials. Millennials are doing fine. They are their future. They know what they have to do. They know the work that it's going to take because we are still using 20th century politics in the 21st century, and it's not working anymore.
Yeah,
and it's definitely hasn't worked in a long time. We are too far. We are 20 years into this new century, and we're still acting like this is the 20th century, and it's just not working anymore. And we know it's not working anymore. So, like I said, it just makes, and I want to do I grew up during the AIDS crisis, and, that was a tough time. I mean, I just turned 21, was ready to come out of the closet. Here comes AIDS. And I went, well, motherfuck. First, you raised the drinking age to 21. Then I turned 21, and now I can't have sex.
Damn.
So yeah, that was a tough time. Now, don't get me wrong, we still did, but we just had to be smarter about. We had to be smart. But we spent so much time surviving that we didn't get to have fun.
Yeah.
we did the best that we could, but we spent so much time just trying to survive because we watched our friends pass away at alarming rates. I mean, at alarming rates. If you think COVID is bad, you have not seen it when you are having a conversation with someone and, oh, what happened to so-and-so? Oh, he died last week. Well, what happened to this person? They died 2 weeks ago. My God, it was a horrific time. This is nothing compared to this. So I'm a little lucky in that I was a little prepared, but I didn't want y'all to go through this again. Did not want y'all to go through this again. And here we are with COVID, which I'm still confused about, by the way. I don't know if this is a heavy flu, a light side of AIDS. I don't know what this is. I just know that know that I wear my mask and that's it. So
the mutation, for what they've said, does have certain similarities to the AIDS virus.
Yes, it does.
But the main thing, the people at risk are people who would be susceptible to the flu. People who are very, very overweight, people who have heart disease, lung disease, diabetes, smokers, especially heavy smokers.
I quit smoking 5 months ago.
Good. And also, low testosterone levels. So California should be very worried. Finally,
a lot of those people moved here. You should, you better be careful. Yeah. A lot of them have moved here.
And D vitamin deficiency is the other thing. D vitamin deficiency. So it's important for people to consume green cruciferous vegetables and keep up their D vitamin.
I have cut back on the sugar.
Good.
I have. Like I said, when this started, I kicked myself because I'm like, you know what? I just quit smoking a few months ago, and the world might be ending, and maybe I should run to the store and get a pack of cigarettes. And then I'm like, you know what? I didn't go through all that work. I did not go. When you have smoked for 25 years and go through those withdrawals, they're horrific. I will never pick up a cigarette again because the withdrawals are terrible. They are terrible. That first 2 weeks, I was a minefield. Don't come anywhere near me because you might get red, and you're going to get red super hard, even for the most minor infractions. And the physical pain and all the stuff that I went through just to get that out of my system. Yeah. I will, like I said, never pick up a cigarette again. I don't even like the smell of cigarettes. Isn't that odd? I smoked for a long time, and when I'm around other people who smoke, I cannot stand the smell of cigarettes. Cannot stand it.
I've never smoked or never done drugs. I don't drink. So, but we all have had other kinds of addictions, other kinds of vices, and it's something that we have to work through. For me, it's been about turning towards God to help me break certain unhealthy patterns of behavior. So I'm glad that. I think for the whole world, hopefully, if we've taken advantage of this time, has been a time of self-growth and transformation. Hopefully, with this crazy year, we move the world closer to heaven and away from hell. We use this time to become better people.
So I'm gonna put this on your shoulders. I hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna put this on your shoulders.
Sure.
Would you like to say a little prayer, a little something for the gay community,
for the listeners, for the gay community, for everybody? I just want you to know that you are loved, that you are treasured, that you exist for a reason, that we need you here. You have to keep fighting. Don't give up. You are needed at this time the most. You are here for a reason, and we love you. We embrace you. Don't give up. And it's going to get better, not just as far as being gay, but as far as being human. And it does, even if it doesn't get better, we get stronger, and we are able to fight forward. And you're not alone. That's what I want you to know. You're loved, and you're never alone.
Well, thank you, Cobra, for being on the show. I had a good time. I had a really good time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I will. I'm going to have Jacob on the show in maybe a few weeks. We'll talk about it.
Sure.
We're going to talk about his art. We're going to talk about his OnlyFans page. And I'm really curious on how you start up in that, and what your thing is and all that other stuff. So I'm curious, and I'm sure my audience will be very curious as well. So I think that's going to be fun. You are definitely going to be back on. I think I'm going to have you on a little bit more often. You think that's okay?
Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you? Because like I said, right now we need a little spirituality. Even if you are not as religious, if you're not religious or you're not, if you're borderline in your beliefs, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of a pump of spirituality in you.
Yeah.
So to speak. So I'm gonna say goodbye because y'all need to get out of my house. And we will see y'all next week. Have a good day, a good evening, and here's some music to send you out. Oh, that's not music. That's my applause. Sorry. I'm giving myself applause there. Let me try this again. Try it again one more time. I'm going to get this. Nope. Got the laughter. Where is that button? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can do this. And there we go. Just had it on the wrong one. And there we go. And we are out. See you next week. All right. Woo.